everybody. It's Jessica Stone at Stansberry Research. I'm joined now by John Engel with the Stansberry Innovation Report for a look at a sort of essential ingredient that he sees as people are searching for a cure and really even for a vaccine, right, for COVID-19. What do you mean when you talk about this essential ingredient that basically takes the science to market?
Yes, so let's break it down for a second and let's talk about how drugs go to market. Right. So this process starts with a lot of preclinical work, and that often takes years. And then you have a drug target, and you have a drug that hits that target, and then you take it into clinical trials, which are tested in humans. The whole process of clinical testing typically takes between 5 and 10 years. And in the process, you need to make a certain amount of drug used for clinical testing, as well as make sure you can actually manufacture the drug after it's been approved. A really vital part of this process involves something called a contract development and manufacturing firm. And these guys are big factories for drug manufacturing. And when you think about who's actually making drugs to begin with, these are often very small companies that aren't able to devote the capital to have their own dedicated manufacturing plant. So that's the role that a CDMO would play in this process.
And you like CDMOs for investing purposes because of the role they play, right? Tell me about what you think they can offer and how investors can identify them when they're looking for them, because you think they're a pretty good bet.
Exactly. So there's no crystal ball to tell you what CDMO is going to be the right CDMO for the situation, but you can look at partnerships. Often smaller firms will put out public press releases that show partnership with a larger CDMO, and that might be on a preclinical or clinical basis, and it could lead to an even bigger contract with a marketable drug.
So John, we've been hearing a lot about Moderna, a company that's trying to come up with a vaccine for COVID-19. Do they have a CDMO that they're working with?
They do, but let's talk about what Moderna is actually doing here. So their vaccine is something very different from what we've seen in the past. It's an RNA vaccine, which involves genetics. So what you want to look for in a CDMO is one that's capable of producing these genetic-based medicines, right? So Moderna recently cut a deal with a company that we've covered in the Stansberry Innovations Report called Lonza. What Lonza is doing for Moderna is they're packaging the genetics into the envelope so that they can inject this RNA package into your cells. It'll actually go into your cells. Your own cell machinery will make a protein that the virus actually would make on its own, so that your immune system sees it, recognizes it as bad, primes it for post-infection.
So when you talk about specialty CDMOs, are there a lot of other specialty CDMOs in this space?
It's an industry transition, and that, of course, is going to help with companies like Moderna, which have really progressive vaccine candidates.
You like CDMOs because they're making it happen, and they're sort of like a force multiplier for the people who come up with the science of vaccines and treatment, right? So if science is moving towards more gene and cell therapy, if I'm looking for a good investment in a CDMO, should I be looking at CDMOs that are capable of manufacturing in that space, in the gene and cell space?
I would say most definitely it's a good place to look. And to be clear, there's a lot of risk in investing in developing biotechnology in general, right? So you can take some of that risk out by investing in the industry as a whole. A CDMO is a really great way to take advantage of these big industry moves. They're safer bets than an experimental vaccine developer or a new cell therapy treatment where the company has got one candidate that either fails or doesn't, fails or makes it through. So when we see these big industry moves, we call it a picks and shovels play. We like to go after the easy investment angle, the safer investment angle. We think that's the better way to go. And the U.S. government has made it very clear that they want to make sure they have a footprint, a CDMO footprint in the U.S. And they don't want manufacturing to be done in China. They don't want manufacturing to be done in Europe. They want it in the U.S. So if you're looking for a CDMO to cover those needs, you need one that has a strong footprint in the U.S. and you need one that's capable of manufacturing vaccines. So that it's really a two-pronged solution there.
Thank you for bringing that to us, John. We appreciate your time. And if you would like to see much more content just like this, John Engel with the Stansberry Innovations Report, you can, of course, continue to subscribe to our YouTube channel or find us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. That's all for now. Thanks for joining us.